Hello and a very warm welcome to you to Markets Today. My name is Mbitha Mwema and I am your host. You know what happens here on Friday? It's all about Ask Friday. It's the most exciting day of the week. We take a recap of what is happening over the markets, but most importantly, this show is for you. Yani, kama una watch, kama kuna story yote unataka kujua ya soko la hisa, hii show ni yako. Uwe madhe, uwe fadhe, uwe brother, uwe sister, whoever you are. This is the space where we allow you to actually come in, be with us, engage with us, ask us your questions, anything about investments in Kenya. This is the show to be. What is our number? Here is my phone, nimeshika ndangos yangu 20146. Kama uko na swali yoyote, bring it through. But for today, we will be looking at Equity Bank in terms of the company profile. Before that, we'll give you an overview of what was happening yesterday on the NSE. And you know how we do. Our production team here takes it to the street to talk to as many people as we can and answer your questions. I do hope that you can be part of us. How has the month been? Unaona mwezi imeisha? What have been your investment returns for this particular month? What are you thinking about as we get into February? Without any further delay, let's take a look at what was happening on the NSE yesterday. We have the charts coming up with the indices which were all in the red overnight. You can see that there. NSE all share was down, NSE 20, NSE 25 share index, all of them were down. Starting off with the NSE all share, this was down 39 basis points to 156.56. NSE 20 share also lost a bit of ground there, down a percentage point to 1,888 points, whereas the NSE 25 share index was down 4.39 percentage points to close the day at 3,445.65 points. Let's take a look at what was happening on turnover, which edged down 56% yesterday compared to the previous day. Let's take a look at that chart. You can see it tracking the turnover from the beginning of the year, January 1st, up until now. That's January 28th. Today is the last trading day. I did see a drop in turnover. Previous day, 796. Yesterday, we had 347 million traded over the day. Foreign investors were net sellers over the day. Previous sessions, they have been buying more than they have been selling. But yesterday, we did see a bit of a reversal. They were selling more than they were buying. What was the interest on the particular stocks over the day? What did we see? Let's take a look and see what was happening yesterday by virtue of the turnover. Safaricom, as expected, each and every single day this week, topping the charts, yesterday notwithstanding. 4.5 million shares traded at an average price of 36.2 for a cumulative turnover of 161 million. Equity Group came in second. 3.6 million shares were traded for a turnover of 132 at an average price of 36.5 shillings. Kenya Re topped the charts yesterday. It was third in place. 8 million shares traded for a cumulative turnover of 20 million shillings. This share has edged up slightly. It's now trading at the 2.5 mark. Closer to the end of last year, it was oscillating at the 2.2, 2.3 mark. KCB Group came in fourth, 35.9. That is the average price for KCB, 193,000 shares traded, and Kengen, 902,000 shares traded at an average price of 5.12. This is tracking the results that came out in the previous day with some positive news and reviews from investors. Let's see what was happening by virtue of volume. As you can see there, Kenya Re was the top traded stock over the day, 8 million shares traded. Safaricom, 4.5 million shares traded. Equity, 3.6 million shares traded. Kenya Power, 1.7. Kengen, 902,000 shares traded over the day. Kengen did release its full year 20 results over this week, and the earnings were up 133.1%, and that was an increase compared to the last reported year. These results were for the year that ended June 2020. So some good results, but certainly you don't expect this to impact the price because the price is forward-looking and the investors will be looking to see what happens in this particular year. But nonetheless, we did appreciate the fact that 133 was some stellar growth for this company. Let's see what else was happening on the Nairobi Securities Exchange by virtue of the price gainers and the price movers. Price gainers there, the little caps, the small caps were dominating performance yesterday. Longhorn up 9.4 percentage points to 4.77 shillings per share, followed by East African Cables, which was up 6.87% to 1.4 shillings. And Nairobi Business Ventures still on an upward trajectory. It now is up 6.44% to close the day at 5.62 shillings. Sasini was also up 5%, and as expected, Kengen gained a little bit yesterday, 3.85 percentage points to close the day at 5.12. Who were the losers over the day? Let's take a look at that, which is coming up shortly. We did see, again, the small caps also dominating, so not too much activity on the blue chips, which are the likes of Safaricom, Equity and KCB, but a lot of activity in the smaller capitalized stocks. East African Portland was leading the pack, down 9.33 percentage points to 10.2 shillings. Car and General was down 8.33 percentage points to 22 shillings. We also have Samia that was down. Kenya Power had gained a little bit over the week, but now it's down 5% to 1.51, and Olympia Capital. That's pretty much what was happening. Today is the last trading day of this particular month. We have seen some interesting movements over this month, the likes of Bamburi, which is already up 21%. We've also seen a bit of interest in some banks such as Cooperative Bank, which has already gained about 7 percentage points. And we are seeing a little bit of interest across some of the banks that had not actually improved in price in the previous year. The likes of I&M, the likes of Diamond Trust Bank, a little bit of interest there. Even Fahari Rate, which is another stock that we're normally looking at, has also been gaining. I hope you can join us on Monday when we speak to some of the analysts in this country to understand what was happening in the month of January and what are some of the opportunities that you can invest in. But I draw this comparisons just to show you that the Nairobi Securities Exchange, it is like a supermarket. There are various opportunities, over 60 opportunities to be precise, meaning that you just need to be able to identify a few and you can make a return. Bamburi, 21% return. That's a 21% return in 1 month, in the month of January. You can be able to make a return on the NSE. You just need to be very clear about what is happening. But more important, you have to be able to pay attention. Now, I will call up a few charts, but I wanted us, because it's all about us, it's a Friday and we're taking it down a notch. I want us to be able to engage. Now, have you caught up on some of the news that is happening in the global space? So GameStore is a company which trades by the acronym GME. There has been sort of a classist comeback with retail investors pitting against hedge funds in the United States for this particular stock. Melvin Capital had made an investment and bought an option in this stock, and the retail investors got word of this and actually started picking up all the stocks of this particular company, forcing the hand of Melvin Capital, which was now sinking in debt, or rather financial losses, because it was not able to cover its position. The day before yesterday, the retail investors had it, and it sort of came out as an emotive conversation where the retail investors would say, in 2008, the government bailed out the Wall Street investors, hedge funds, banks, all of these people. Yet the retailers said, we work hard. We didn't even have money. We were eating scraps. We had to move in with relatives. So the retail sentiment was this. We are not buying this whether it makes sense or not. We are buying it because for once we want to be hard and we are going to stand. And we're going to take the little monies that we have and stand up against Wall Street, because we are only trying to make rent, not to make billions. On the flip side, this particular hedge fund was able to sort of unwind its position. And the reality about the structure of the United States is the institutions are able to trade overnight, whereas retailers are not able to trade overnight. Meaning that a lot of transactions were happening outside the visibility of the retail investors. These retail investors typically trade through Robinhood, and at some point they actually had no access to their accounts, no access of news happening on this particular counter, and it became a proper classist fight. The government of the United States had to intervene. Different regulators had to find a way to intervene before this stock was halted in trading, and today is another interesting day we're waiting to see. Why do we share this here? We're sharing this just to show the fact that some of these global markets have apps that have actually allowed the retail investors to come in, and the retail investors are having a voice. But just following the crowd might not necessarily make you money. You could lose some money, but people have made money, and it's a story that we're continuing to keep tabs on, and we will be able to tell you how it unfolds. What's the read-through for us here in Kenya? The read-through for us here in Kenya is the fact that Robinhood is actually a platform that has allowed many investors globally to be, not globally, in the United States, in the retail segment. It has opened an opportunity and it has opened an asset class for them to be able to trade. For us here in Kenya, retail investors tend to be the minority. They came in through Safaricom IPO, which was about 10 years ago. And after that acquisition, most of them felt like they lost money because they bought the stock at 5, it went to 2, but now it's at 37 shillings. This read-through just tells you that the capital markets, the equity markets, are an opportunity for you to be able to put your money in, but you want to be able to gain access, but more importantly, to empower yourself with the right information to be able to know what happens. I would encourage you to go and look out for this story. That's the Game Store, GME, a very exciting story. I was palpitating when I was reading it the whole night. I couldn't believe it. It just feels like a dream, like a movie. It was quite surreal, but something to look out for. But that said, when we come back to Kenya, the performance is not as exciting because this stock, by the time it was being halted and retail investors couldn't get it, one day alone, 121% improvement in price. One day alone, you more than doubled your money if you had invested in this particular stock. In Kenya, 121, we have not yet seen it. Some of the good stocks we've seen returns in the month of January, 21% to 25%, but we continue to track and look for opportunities here. That said, the GDP numbers for Kenya are out and the charts are coming up, and we actually have the analyst and the investor community saying that now we've actually gotten into an element of recession because there was actually a decline in the third quarter numbers. Certainly this was expected because of COVID-19. How is the economy doing? It's not doing too well, at least on paper. What we do know is that the World Bank expects it to grow by 6.9% in the year 2021, but then the numbers that are coming through have nothing compared to what we expect going forward. What are some of the areas that were not making money? Accommodation and food services, they did not grow. That was down 57.9%. Manufacturing down 3.2%, and that was certainly expected. Construction up 16.2%, agriculture up 6.3%, financial services and insurance slightly up 5.3%, transport and storage up 2.9%. So that's really what was happening there. The drop was expected. The first time that we're actually getting into a recession, and you have a couple of subsequent drops in the economic growth. Outlook for this year, 6.9%, but then the jury is still out on that. There's some people who think we'll do 5% if we're lucky. I think it's all about wait and see what happens. What are your questions when it comes to the economy? What are you feeling about the economy? What are you feeling as a retail investor? I would like to know. We take a break. When we come back, we want to do our company profile section. We will be looking at Equity Group. Have you invested in this stock? Do you want to know how to invest in this stock? How can we help you? You know what our number is? 20146. Nimeshika nangos na nangoja uniongeleshe. If that does not work for you, you can reach out to us. That's at Metropole TV on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter, or at Mbithe Mwema on the same platforms. This show is for you. I can't do this without you. I invite you, take your phone, talk to us on social media, talk to us on your phone, ask us what you would like to know about investments and how you can actually use the Nairobi Securities Exchange as a way of building wealth for yourself. And if not, we are also happy to give you answers when it comes to other investment opportunities in Kenya today. See you after the break.